So let's go ahead and draw up here what we're used to, which are these spinning disks. And this is your hard drive in your system or your server. And then let's draw up here random access memory, or RAM. This is what you refer to as RAM. Perhaps you have 128 gigs of RAM and 5 terabytes of disk storage. Now we're going to take these RAM components, we're going to lay them into a disk format, typically a 2.5-inch disk, and we're going to call it now a hard drive made out of RAM. We're going to talk about the benefits, pros and cons about it later, but this is a RAM-based solid-state disk. Now let's draw flash storage. So a flash-based solid-state disk is made out of chips, right? Flash chips. Now we're going to talk about some here in just a minute here, so I know you may have some questions, but again, the same concept. Flash-based solid-state disk puts those flash components down onto a 2.5-inch drive usually, and we call it a flash-based solid-state disk. So let's show here just briefly some of those pros and cons of this technology, and we'll go through and highlight each one of them and kind of talk about them in this brief video. So here, again, what we're comparing here is spinning disk, RAM solid-state disk, and flash solid-state disk, or as you see there, SSS, which stands for solid state storage. So let's go ahead and start at the top right here of our screen, talk about RAM-based solid state disk. So one of the disadvantages is it tends to be volatile. So that means it's made up, by the way, of DRAM and SRAM, and what that means is that if you put data on it, as soon as that computer boots, you're going to lose the data. Now, there are some solutions for this. Typically, they'll put a battery backup on it, or they'll write critical data to the RAM disk quickly and then automatically put it out to a spinning disk or a flash-based disk that is non-volatile. All right, so some of the other key things here. This type of solid-state disk is used in heavy, intense write environments where you're looking for high performance. High performance tends to be a little more costly, but very oriented on high performance. Let's go down to flash-based solid-state disk. Flash-based solid-state disk, still faster than spinning disk, by the way, and it truly is the way of the future. One of these two, or what we call a hybrid between the two, are certainly the future of storage. But here, let's go ahead and just talk a few of the pros and cons to the flash-based solid-state disk. One is that there is a finite number of program erases, meaning that you can erase data from this drive only so many times. All right, so if you're buying this type of technology, flash-based solid-state disk, make sure that you look for companies that give you a warranty for a specific period of time, 3 to 5 years, on their flash-based solid-state disk. Then if you exceed the read and write threshold of that flash component, it'll just be replaced for you under your warranty. Also, this is a very cost-effective model, not quite as expensive as a RAM-based solid-state disk. Remember, these are all based on business cases, right? We may use a combination of RAM-based solid-state disk and flash-based solid-state disk. Now, that's called a hybrid model. And so you're using perhaps RAM-based solid-state disk for your performance-oriented, and then you're still using for performance on flash-based, not quite as fast as RAM, but very fast nevertheless for your disk. So that's called hybrid. You can also hybrid that into a spinning disk environment. So let's talk about some of the pros and cons for spinning disk. High energy and noise, right? And there's a cost associated, right? Spinning disks take more power to run. So when you have a large data center, this is a factor. It's about half of the performance of solid-state drives. So whether that be RAM or flash, we've talked about the difference between those performance, but still it's about half, 50% of the performance. And then this is the low-cost media, right? So you want to make sure when you're picking a storage environment, you want to have all three of these components in your environment. You want to have spinning disk that could be a great use for archival data, or kind of a write once, read zero or one time, right? So some data that they say that 85% of our data is only touched once. So that type of data you want to put on there, right? Spinning disk, you may also, have that type of disk in your array head. And then you'll want RAM and flash to do those other performance-oriented tasks that you have in your environment. So you need to buy a technology or an array head that supports all these type of disks coexisting with one another.